go to our first question. It's covering waivers and liability.
Yeah, so thanks, Eugene. Yeah, so, one of the questions that we keep getting consistently on the Finli side through our instructors is, okay, I've moved my business online now. Normally they walk into my, brick and mortar store and they sign a waiver there and then. How does that work today when I'm instructing online? Can I use electronic waivers? And let's talk a little bit about what happens if someone was to get injured while I'm instructing, even though they're not necessarily in my place of business.
Yeah, so waivers are necessary. They're part of the legal shield. They're part of what I said earlier, a legal agreement. They are a first line of defense. And I say first line because there's multiple defenses you need to have as a business owner. But this is the most basic and easiest one and low-hanging fruit defense you can have to protect your business in the event there is a personal injury, a slip and fall, an accident that happens as you engage in an online course. They can be electronic, they can be sent by email, they can be sent by DocuSign, they can be sent by HelloSign, any of the e-sign service providers that have a certificate that they can certify that you can e-sign legal agreements. Usually it's DocuSign or HelloSign. Those are very easy to use, very consumer friendly. You could do it by email and send an electronic agreement and have it signed, we say countersigned, have them sign a copy and have you sign a copy as the fully executed or fully signed agreement. And it does apply to Zoom classes. Even if you take your business online, you're still interacting with students and customers. Anytime you have an interaction, whether it's online interface, whether it's through emails even, whether it's through text messages, that's all governed by legal relationships. The legal bubbles are still floating. They may be virtual bubbles, not physical ones, but they're still there. And you still need to realize it's that fragile, it's that present in front of you, these legal issues. Zoom does have their own set of legal terms that protect Zoom. You and the student are not parties to each other with the Zoom agreements. So when you go onto Zoom, look at the terms of use. That's the first legal agreement that Zoom is saying we are protected, but we're not necessarily protecting all of Zoom users. And they can't, that'd be expensive for them. Same goes for Finli. So Finli can only protect its business, but it can't protect everyone, right? Not every single user is going to be protected if they do something during a Finli or during a course that you teach on Finli and using Zoom. If an accident happens, you have to have a waiver that's between you and your student. And that creates a legal agreement between what we call the parties. The parties here are going to be you, the school, and the student. And I do have a template. There's a question here, what's in a waiver, and do I have a template? I do have a template. What's in a waiver? Well, there's a lot of things in a waiver. For personal injury ones, so there's different kinds of waiver. Let's first tackle the personal injury one, because that's the most frequent question that gets asked is, what is exactly, how's it covering me, especially in injury, case of an injury. So personal injury waivers will have the name of the parties, so the name of the school. Sometimes they'll have the name of the instructor, and then they'll have the name of the student. And if the student is a minor under the age of 18, then they'll have a parental signature also and the name of the parents. And then it'll have the actual language of what's being released. So a lot of times there'll be claims arising from personal injury, from accidents, and it'll have it sometimes in caps. And the people I know don't like caps because it looks like you're shouting, but that's exactly what you need to do. The law requires you to shout at your customers because there's special protections for participants, students, and customers of your business. So even if you have a large company, say it's a nonprofit that's quote unquote, they're the one that is the customer and paying, but their members of the nonprofit are participants. Those participants each individually aren't covered necessarily for every scenario by the agreement between you and the nonprofit. You need to have an individual waiver specific to each participant. And yeah.
Yeah, no, great. Thanks, Eugene. And just for everyone on the phone, we'll follow up with that template, that waiver template as well in an email to everybody so you can see what one looks like. And really quick here, we just got a question in that's really relevant. So for email waivers, can they just type their name and send it back? Will that suffice? Or do they have to scan and send back?
Um, I like it to be scanned. You would have to put an extra clause that the email and your digital print in the email suffices. And you would also have to, I would even see if they can print the metadata. And you would have to basically be a technologist or understand what that means. But basically, you want to make sure that it has some sort of authentication that was actually sent from their IP address and it was from them specifically. It's easier to get the print and scan. I think the risk reward there is too off balance in terms of the risk being higher that an email signature, even with contractual language, may not hold if the customer is a bad actor and later on they want to challenge that, saying that it doesn't count as a real signature. That can happen, and why risk it, right? When a scan is very easy, you can take a picture, right, of a signature and modify and make it look like more like a scan.
Great, thanks, Eugene.